endless skies. Oh, I'm living that nomad life, city to city, feeling alive. From mountain tops to ocean drives, unchained, I thrive,
Okay. All right. Well, thank you for joining us here on Nomads 50 Plus. It's great to see you all. And my name is Chris Kalabukas, and it's my mission to interview at least 1,000 digital nomads. That's right, folks, 1,000 digital nomads to help people get into the life of becoming a digital nomad over 50.
Yes, and I'm Mary Bartnikowski, and I started travel at age 49. I'm age 69 now, and
No, don't
yeah,
admit it. Don't admit it.
oh no, I'm proud of it.
Oh, and by the way, folks,
Um,
Mary's
sis-
connection is a little sketchy, so it might skip in and out. So this is life on the road, right? Right, Mary?
this is life on the road, Wi-Fi, and I'm high up in the mountains. This is one of the highest peaks in all of North America, so I'm lucky we can even get a picture.
Yeah.
So,
Sorry,
but
go on with your intro. Sorry, I didn't
Oh,
mean to
okay. So
interrupt.
my intro, I just wanted to say the Sicily photography retreat is on. This is the last week you can apply to come. One-on-one premium in Syracuse, Sicily, training. And it's less than 6 people. So it's
Wow.
on. We're doing it February 16th to 23rd, 2026. We're going.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. Nice.
Gonna
Get
be,
on there. Anybody who's interested, go.
yeah.
Links are
Check it
below.
out. Well, Sicily's a good place to slow travel. Speaking of slow travel, and because you want the cost factor, you want the nice people, you want the good food.
Yeah, let's talk a
Nice.
little bit about that because I think
Okay.
there's been two in my discussions with other nomads, there
Yeah.
seems to be two different camps. There's the
Okay.
slow travel camp and
Yeah.
there's the fast travel camp. And they're completely different styles,
Totally
right?
different. Totally
Right?
different. It's interesting you say that because I actually talk to more slow travel people than the fast ones. So that's an interesting, but you're right. Two different camps, entirely different dimensions.
Yeah, and I think the thing about slow travel is that it's more differentiated from the kind of the life that we're leading, like this super fast-paced life where we're on all the time and we're rushing, rushing, rushing. That's probably part of the beauty of travel is the ability to slow down and be at a different pace.
Oh yeah. I mean, I wouldn't have the books that I've written if I hadn't. Five of my books were written in other countries. Only one was written in California and Silicon Valley because I find that when you can just slow down and be in a community and kind of relax and not feel like, oh, I got to see this, I got to go there, I got to do that, I got to do this tour. It's an entirely different thing for your psyche and your
Mm,
mind and your peacefulness.
yeah, yeah. No, I'm with you, but I always have trouble writing when I'm away because I just want to experience, right?
Yeah, I know what you're saying. And I think because if you're more used to vacation mode,
Mm,
then it's kind of like, and this is taken a long time for me because yeah, you do want to see everything and you have to give yourself that, of course,
sure.
too. But you can get into a rhythm of doing your writing. Like I get some really good writing done when I go 3 months to Europe because I'm more relaxed. I don't have to get somewhere. I don't have a lot of deadlines. I am actually starting to get a lot more consultations and book mentoring, which I can do by phone or online, which is nice.
Mm,
So then that will probably, um, here's what I think. As you travel, the evolution of how you travel is going to change based on, okay, do you want to do any work whatsoever, or do you want to not work?
right.
Like I have a person coming on this photography retreat to Sicily. She's a lawyer, and she said, "I don't want to do any work when I'm there."
Mm,
And that. That's another way to travel. So
Yeah.
you have to decide who you are and what you can do and how you can do it. And maybe you don't need to work as much either.
Yeah, I think it all depends on how you fund yourself, right? Because there's some creators who they've got to be online all the time because they need to spit out videos or create what they need to create in order to get paid. And there's others who you do it in lump sum, and then you're like, okay, now I can coast. I don't necessarily need to work right now. So I think that kind of you almost need fast travel if you're working all the time anyway, as opposed to slow travel when you can do it in chunks.
Yeah, I think that would be very challenging for me to do the fast work
Mm. Well, it depends
because,
on the work you're doing, right? I mean, your
well,
your work isn't particularly, you don't have to put out stuff all the time, every day.
no, I don't. And I've crafted it to be that way so I could be away from Wi-Fi. Like this Zen Buddhist training I just did, you couldn't be on Wi-Fi. I mean, you could check your email, but you couldn't send anything.
Yeah. Yeah.
No videos, nothing. And it was good to do
Yeah.
it that way.
Yeah. I think that's something that people have to think about ahead of time before when they think about funding and how they're going to do it. And if they have to continuously create digital content and upload it and things like that, it's kind of like the Wi-Fi we were talking about before, is that you have to be concerned that your Wi-Fi is good wherever you are. But if you don't have to do it all at once, then you don't necessarily need to concern yourself that much with that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And, sometimes it's really crucial and other times it's not.
Yeah.
I mean, traveling in Southeast Asia and working on that, the magazine app I had in the iTunes store, I did that for 5 years. Wow, that was a challenge to get because you're dealing with Apple. Like you've got to have
Oh
Apple
yeah.
computer, you've got to have the speed to upload all this. That was like, oh my God, that was so challenging. And it was only because of the Wi-Fi issue.
Yeah. Yeah.
Nothing else. I loved the work.
Yeah. Well, if you're one of those people, if you start off by, I mean, a lot of times we suggested if you're thinking about doing an location
Mm.
independent business, go ahead and start it before you go, right? And get it up and running and get some money coming in, and then you can decide to start traveling while you're doing it. But you've got to make sure that that's sustainable while you're traveling, because if you set yourself up to you know, a certain pace, you might not be able to keep that pace when you're out of the country.
Well, that's the thing. I think there's a lot of experimentation you have to do. And like another thing that I do is once in a while I do volunteer projects, and you're not going to be as connected. And
Mm,
it's really fun to do it because you're culturally in this immersion that you wouldn't be in if you weren't helping out. And so you're usually not going to be as connected, or maybe you will be. I mean, it just kind of fluctuates, and so you have to. I think because I've had my own business for 40 years, it sort of is. It's rolling with that kind
right.
of attitude of just okay, every week's going to be different.
Yeah. Yeah. It's kind of like a gig economy sort of thing where people have to get used to the fact that some weeks you'll make more money than others, and some weeks you'll do more work than others, and you don't necessarily have to be constantly putting stuff out.
Yeah, exactly. It doesn't, as long as money's coming in and you can consistently pay your bills. And it's funny. I've been away from Silicon Valley for a week now, and I've gotten so popular with business like coming in, and I'm just like, I guess I should leave more often. There's
Yeah.
something about like people are reaching out. Someone new signed up for the retreat. Consultations are coming in. So I'm like, huh, I wonder. Well, the Zen Buddhist training helped too. There's like this letting go of any kind of worry and it applies to anybody. You don't have to be a Zen Buddhist. Um, you have to let go of knowing the answer all the time
Right.
because you don't.
Yeah. Well,
And
it's funny how that applies in many different ways.
right.
In many different ways. I mean, the same thing happens with my wife. She's like, when we go on vacation, she puts her Etsy store on vacation mode and
Yeah.
immediately gets a flood of orders,
Yeah.
right?
Right?
When I step up to the golf ball and I try thinking about my swing, it goes off this way or that way. But if I don't, if I just completely like zen out and not think about it at all, it automatically happens. So I think there's something to that. There's this magic that occurs when you're not thinking too hard about something, that
Y-
things just seem to fall into place.
You know, the best thing I learned from living in this temple in Thailand for 2 months was the head abbot. He would see me walking around worried, like he was an enlightened master, and he'd say,
Mm.
"You thinking." And then he'd tell me what I was thinking about.
Wow. Did he tap you on the head with a stick or something?
No, he could just tell by looking at me across the meditation floor. I mean, or out walking around. We do walking meditation too. He'd just know. He'd tell me I was thinking about my son, somebody that was supposed to come and visit me. I'm like, oh my God. Like
Wow.
he would just know. And the thing that I got out of that was that, and again, at this Zen Buddhist training I just left, we're thinking too much about outcomes, what happened in the past. We're not being in the present moment.
Yeah. Yeah, we definitely aren't spending time in the present. But that's part of the world that we're in right now, right? We're always thinking about what's about to happen, what's happened before, and we don't spend any time in the present at all. So, I mean, how do you get yourself more centered into the present? How does that
Okay,
work?
that's an excellent question. And what I do and what I fall off the wagon a lot is with my meditation practice. It could be 5 minutes, it could be 10 minutes. I mean, don't start a 14-hour a day, 10-day meditation retreat, the
Much as you'd love
Vipassanas.
to.
I've done four of them, and if I didn't have a meditation practice already, I would have failed and left.
Mm,
You can't talk, you
sounds
can't
grueling.
eat after lunch. It's hardcore. So what I do is it's a practice, and
Mm,
you have to constantly pull your mind back from this worry place of going. And it helped me to be in the training because I went for spiritual counseling, and she said I go to the same woman monk who's been in there like 35, 40 years. And she was married and had children and everything.
wow.
So see, to me, that's very significant because if you then make that transition into being a monk, then you've already lived in modern life. So you know what we're dealing with out here. So,
Yeah.
so
Well, yeah,
what?
I think it's important that the people who are counseling with you understand the life that you're in
Oh my
right now.
God. Yeah,
Absolutely.
I couldn't go to like, and I have tried getting advice from monks in Thailand who've never left Thailand and it's like, wait, you don't know what modern life is like. I'm gonna go to somebody that's experienced it. So now that's what I do. So she said, really the core of the training is being in the present moment, taking care of what's right in front of you.
Mm.
Of course, keeping up your meditation
Both
practice,
medication and
medication, both.
meditation.
If you're on medication, go ahead and take your pills. Um, that's funny. And and being kind. Now, those things are not valued so much in modern go world, but that's
Mm.
really what matters.
Yeah. Yeah, it's funny you should mention that because I think in face-to-face interactions, it does matter. I mean, exactly what you're talking about matters. But the thing is that nowadays this is how we interact with each other is over Zoom or over YouTube or over, your favorite, Substack, whatever. We interact with each other that way, and
Hmm.
that interaction doesn't take kindly to that type of that type of communication, I guess. It's like we've been designed to act differently so that we can actually be seen on social media as opposed to how we act in person.
That's so true. And then because of that, because of what you just said, then you have an honest, authentic interaction.
Yeah.
And it's not like that. I mean, one of my new clients, he's 92
Wow. Wow. Fantastic.
and he's writing a book. And we had a face to face quick meeting before I left. And he was like, everybody in my family is gone.
Mm,
And so he's married and she's 86 and she's writing a book too.
wow.
Anyway, if we didn't have that face to face interaction, there's no way he would have found me
Mm,
because he's not online like that.
mm.
And so I thought, this is so interesting. I met his wife. She was knitting on a cliff by the ocean across the street from her beautiful house
Wow. Nice.
in person. So the thing I want to really convey is the in person, face to face. Don't lose sight of that because it's not all about being online. I mean, I think I've probably gotten my best clients by the face to face method.
Yeah. But how did you meet them? I mean, I guess that's the question. How do you
Okay.
meet these people face to face? Other than just happening to bump into them somewhere.
Well, they're, random meetings in real life. And then I'm trying to think of someone who's I met online. I can't think of anybody that's become a long-term person from online. I
That's
mean,
interesting.
yeah, it's kind of one-offs online, but not like a continuing, not one person comes to me. Everybody was
Yeah.
met face to face. And I think there's something in that because you can tell a lot about a person face to face right away
Oh, absolutely.
that you
Absolutely.
can't tell online. Because,
Yeah, and
I
when
mean, people are hitting on me. I mean, I'm not flattered. It's not, they're just trying anybody. And so it's like, if you could see them in person, you could size them up in five
yeah.
seconds.
And they would never say anything like that in person as opposed to
Yeah.
online because online
Yeah.
I mean we have so many personas online that are not us. It's like so many people are so inauthentic online. And I think sometimes it's because it's not just because they want to be inauthentic. I think it's because they want to gain attention. Like they have to be outrageous. They have to be over the top so that they'll be seen by the algorithm by somebody else, so they can't be their authentic selves. But once you see them in person, then but I wish more people were more authentic online.
Well, and I've been on YouTube since 2009 and I'm really surprised at how contentious it's gotten. Like
Mm,
Substack isn't. So that's nice. People are supportive and encouraging. But not every platform is like that. I think you're absolutely right. The people want to be outrageous
if
and
you're not
just
outrageous, you're invisible. That's the
but
downside.
that's not really true. Like, if you look at comedians, the reason they're funny is because of their delivery, what they say, but it's a lot to do with their delivery. Like, have you seen Leanne Morgan?
No, I don't think so.
Okay, she's from a southern state, so her accent, I just love that accent. It's
Mm,
very southern, and she's gotten prominence like lately. She's been at it 25 years. She's married, had three kids in her 50s.
yeah,
And doesn't have like she is beautiful, but she's like all of us, a few pounds, you know what I mean? But she's gorgeous. I mean, I'm only mentioning that because a lot of people are kind of like, oh, you have to have this figure and all this stuff. No, you don't.
right.
Anyway, so she's gaining prominence and she's very funny. She's observational and the way
Hmm.
she delivers what she says is very real and authentic, and that's why it's funny. And that's
Yeah,
why I'm saying I just saw her on Amy Poehler podcast. I'm giving her a plug for everybody to go see her because it's really funny stuff and it's not from an inauthentic place. And she's not being outrageous really. She's just being observational and funny in her delivery.
yeah. Yeah. No, I'm just saying that a lot of times that's what happens nowadays is that
Yeah.
you need to just be you don't necessarily need to be different. You just need to be
Yeah.
like an over the top version of yourself. Because some people who are if they're just who they are, then what will be. And then the other thing is of course niching, right? When it comes to
Niching.
doing a business or
Hmm.
anything where you want to get visible online, I think this is the way that the algorithms work is that, as soon as you go online, like you start a new channel or
Okay.
whatever, and you have to like it tries to detect what what are you talking about, right? It's like,
Okay.
what am I talking about? And then once it detects what you're talking about, it tries to connect you with the audience that it thinks
That
wants
it
to see what you're doing.
thinks. Yeah.
But that all that is that one little niche facet of your life, right? It's
Mm-hmm.
not the whole you. It's just that one little thing that it thinks that other people want to see. And if you want to be more authentic and bring other facets of yourself into into whatever you're creating, it goes, well, I don't know what to do with that. So so you lose your audience. So it's unfortunately forces us into these niches, which we may not want to be a part of.
That's absolutely true. And I think that's one of the downfalls of this whole online thing
Yeah,
because it takes that algorithm thing. I mean, yeah, that is a big part of it.
yeah. Well,
However,
mhm.
why is it the people that we end up following and being a part of their communities are really the ones I personally think, and you can tell me your thoughts on this too, are very authentic and are presenting something that we can relate to.
Yeah, it's just what ends up happening is it's a smaller audience than what you'd expect, right? Because the big audience is gathered by the people who are like, oh, more grow more followers, make more money, blah blah blah. So like the
Hmm.
standard, you know, things that really drive a lot of traffic. Those are the ones that end up being, subscribed to a lot. It's funny because I'm scrolling through my Substack and I see that same thing. I see feeds and like everybody who's got like an orange, like high number of subscribers tick. I
Yeah.
just I just go there to see what they're doing. And
Yeah.
almost every single time it's make money, more
How to
subscribers.
grow.
Da, 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 da. It's not, oh, here's my cupcake recipes. Here my homemade cupcake recipes that I want to promote. Those people they have a small audience that's dedicated,
Hmm.
but everybody else has the big audience. And
Hmm.
the trick is that the audience size doesn't matter, but we're so
Yeah.
fixated on that. If you have a small audience of 500 subscribers that's really passionate about what you're doing, that's way better than 10,000, 100,000 people who don't really care what you're
Oh,
doing.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm all in on the smaller engaged audience because, if people resonate with it and and I so value that because there's people that have been commenting and following and being a part of my community on YouTube because I've been on that the longest since 2009. And I really love and like they make great comments and they're checking up on me and things that means something to me.
And then they say something that you said like deep into the video, and you thought, wow, they watched the whole thing, which is so
Yeah.
rare.
Yeah. How many people do that? So, I kind of question I don't even know if I believe I'm a little skeptical of like the big audiences because it's
Mm,
like how many people are really engaged? I don't really understand the whole algorithm thing in regards to that because, okay, you can have 50,000 subscribers and make money at it, but are those people really engaged and resonate? I mean, I just don't know. I don't think about it that much. I just, spend time on my own thing and
yeah.
then engage with people that I really like to engage with.
Yeah, I think what it is that representation of subscribers,
Hmm.
maybe about 10% of them are engaged. Like the rest
Maybe.
are people who've been around. I mean, especially if you've been around for a long time. I mean, I've have over 1,000 videos on my other channel,
Yeah.
and I have 6,000 subscribers there, but I have very little engagement because it's a tiny little slice of those people. And it's usually the people who are recently joined or recently subscribed because people who've subscribed for years, who knows if they're still even around? They
Yeah.
may not even be watching YouTube anymore. They might have moved on to some other platform or they've disappeared or
Some other planet.
yeah, they're that's right. They've been
Well,
beamed off onto a starship and
you
disappeared.
know, it's so true. Like I'll reconnect. Oh, I just reconnected with someone up here that we initially got in touch with each other, like met in person 2017, right before I moved away.
Hmm.
And we just sat down and had coffee the other day, and we're such on the same wavelength that
Nice.
it was just such a delight. Now that doesn't you don't have that kind of interaction online.
No, no. And that's why I think one of the things that COVID really ruined us for is
Mm.
face-to-face connection because everyone's so lazy to just get in their car and drive somewhere. It's
Oh
like, oh,
yeah.
I could just talk to them online. It's okay. Or even or just send them a text or something like that. We definitely need to get back to that face-to-face connection.
Well, I think that's what the traveling does. See,
Hmm.
what I was completely stunned by that first 2.5 month trip I took away from Silicon Valley was all of the face to face interactions that I had that were so meaningful that I never would have had if I
Yeah.
didn't take that 3 country trip and done all kinds of things, staying in an ashram, traveling to Bali myself, going to India to see the Dalai Lama. I mean,
Yeah.
I, all of the good stuff was face to face.
Yeah.
And so I think the travel thing, okay, this is what I'm finding. People get afraid to jump in with both feet because they're thinking of all these things that could go wrong, or they're not going to be comfortable, or you have to be fluent in the language. You really don't.
Mm.
And no one expects that. I mean, they love it. 99% of the countries I've been in, they love it if you're trying to speak some words of the language, and that's good enough.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I find that even the other thing that's changed, and I've been traveling, not as much as you have, but not in the nomad style. But I remember going to Greece like pre getting internet on my phone. And it was a completely different experience
Yeah.
after getting internet on my phone. And it's actually kind of comforting for some people, for the people who are really worried about being like out there.
Yeah,
It's comforting because it's kind of like a lifeline back to back to your own culture,
that's
right?
true. Yes.
So I think that's the one thing that's a big difference between now and earlier, like pre-internet days in other places, is that you can still feel like you're connected to the world, even though you're somewhere completely different. And unfortunately, you also that means you have to choose how much time you spend on your phone as opposed to interacting with people in person, as opposed to where we were forced to interact with people in person before internet. So on the one hand, it's a lifeline that you can reach for if you need it. But on the
Yeah.
other hand, it's something you've got to make the decision to put the phone down and do the interaction.
Yeah. And, on that note, my first 2 big trips, and then the next one was South America for 6 months, and I didn't take my laptop.
Whoa.
Oh my God. And that was 6 months. And I had to go to these awful internet locations with, ew, PC. No. And so I found, but this was when Skype was just getting started. No one knew where I was. Google Maps wasn't a thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so sometimes I would just go, oh my God, nobody knows where I am, where I'm staying, nothing. I didn't check in that much.
Yeah.
And so I thought there was a beauty to it.
Mm.
So, okay, I get your point. And that is true. It is nice to be connected. And I do see the value in both, but I actually like both methods. And I think there are sections of time that you should give yourself where you're not so connected, like just
Mm.
doing that Zen Buddhist training and just leaving. That was really good for me. And it's kind of affecting me now in my real life in a way that I didn't expect, like to be in the woods meditating with people that meditate all the time and work on, I worked in the kitchen for most of the day and then did the meditation and just being with those people and kind of not on the whole Wi-Fi clock
See,
was
you're giving me a great idea because all of
yeah,
these social media, all these social networks are the
yeah,
same. They
yeah,
reward you for being on,
yeah,
right? Someone should come up with a
yes.
social network that rewards you for being off. Like,
And yeah, listen, I'm telling you, I would not have said this before I went in because, of course, you're all connected. But it's funny because when you're preparing to go in and you know you won't be connected, so you got to finish up all these things. You're not going to be able to talk to that person and everything. And so you have to do all that. So it's a little bit stressful. But then you get behind the gates.
Hmm.
You don't leave.
Yeah.
You don't leave the whole time. And the
Door
gates
swings
close.
closed and
Yeah, the
but you
gates go. But you're happy about it. The red gates
so
close.
it's
I
not
park my
alligator
car.
Alcatraz, basically. It's the opposite.
It's the opposite. And so it's funny because I've stayed there, I don't know, maybe 6 or 7 times. And every time I get there, like at first when I did it, I was like, oh, I can't go anywhere, but I don't want to go anywhere
Mm,
once
that's the
I'm
point.
there. Yeah. See, I finally get that after,
Yeah.
how many trips and how many times I've been there.
Yeah,
I
but you must
get,
look forward to going now. Like
yeah.
it must really, that's great. I love it.
Well, I couldn't go all during COVID, so I didn't go for 5 years.
Oh man, that's
Yeah.
awful.
That's pretty long. I mean, they just were closed.
Mm,
Weren't allowing people to come in. And there's a little bit of part of that too that I like that it's like you have to apply. You can't just walk in. They have to know who you are. You have to do an introductory retreat, which I did, years ago, and then you can come back
yeah.
when
And I
you
think
want to.
we at our age are actually more able to do stuff like that because I was reading studies of Gen Z people who were like they took their
Hmm,
phone away from them for 24 hours and they went into a catatonic state, right? And
funny.
I'm like, we remember the days before being connected all the time, so it's probably easier for us to actually get into a state where we're disconnected and be okay with it.
Yeah, because I grew up without a cell phone and it was just come home before dark.
Yeah.
Didn't have water, didn't have a phone, just went off on the bike
Where
in
you're
the
playing
neighborhood.
outside, you're playing outside with the other kids in the neighborhood,
Yeah.
and then when it got dark, your mom came out with a like a broom and said, "Hey, kids, get in."
She didn't
That was
even,
my
they
kids.
just assumed I'd be back. One time I came back after it had gotten dark and I got in some trouble
Yeah, yeah.
and never did
Well,
it
you weren't back
again.
in time for supper. I mean, you got to be back in time for supper.
Well, I don't know what I was thinking. I was just down the street, but I was having so much fun. I didn't want to come back. And I think about that often because I was only about a block away and the church was there and like it wasn't, but who knows? It was dark when I got home. I
Oh yeah,
don't,
your parents were probably freaking out. What's
I
going
know they
on?
I know. And so isn't it funny? It's like when until you have your own kids, you don't know what that
That's
means.
right. Completely. Because they immediately go to, oh, lying in a dish somewhere.
Yeah, exactly. And I do it the same. How come? Is it just in our DNA? Like I'm immediately like, oh my God, I didn't hear from mom. What's wrong? Oh
It's
my God. But
and you hope
things
it goes
do
away once they hit their 20s, right? But
doesn't.
still, it
It
doesn't. It
doesn't.
never goes away.
Never goes away. I've never slept the same.
Yeah, yeah. Parenting. It's so true. It's absolutely true. 100%. I know we're all over the place today, but is there anything in
That's okay.
particular you wanted to talk about? So we have
Well,
the slow travel, fast travel thing. I
I
love the concept of the slow travel, but what else you want to
okay.
cover?
I actually was thinking about how I've started these volunteer projects out of thin air, and I can help people just do that because you can end up being immersed. Like if you don't have to spend $5,000 to do a volunteer program like you see like I you can create your own. That's what I did every single time. I didn't pay five
Well, how
grand.
how do you do that? Like
Okay,
what's
so
the
I
secret
wanted
sauce?
I wanted to share that because okay, the very first one, okay, that is kind of a miracle, but so I was in India on the Ganga River. Okay, no, that wasn't the first one. Okay, the very
Okay.
first one, and this is kind of a better one to use. Okay, so that was in Nepal,
Hmm.
and my son was volunteering and he asked me to come. So I thought, well, I think I should do a volunteer program somewhere. And I was reading in some big magazine about this organization Olga Marie runs. She's passed away this year. God bless her. She made the biggest nonprofit in Nepal. And I thought, Oh, she's helping kids that would have just like, with these parents in jail and stuff like that. I think I want to help her. So I wrote her an email.
Hmm.
She wrote right back. And
Wow.
I said, hey, I could take pictures of the kids. They don't call it an orphanage because what they do is they house with like a kind of standing mother and father, like 15 or 20 kids in one house, and they go to private school and they get scholarships. And
Oh,
she
wow.
used to be a
So
lawyer,
it's
and
almost like foster parenting. Mm,
but a lot better
mm.
because they're not going to leave. They're going to be in that house their whole childhood.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Yeah. So
So
she
it's
makes
almost like adoption, but they're not actually adopted.
it's almost like adoption.
Mm.
But so they stay in that house. They don't leave. They stay until they could go to college and then they get help to go to college.
Wow. That's fantastic. And
So,
so how do they get into that? It's like you said, the parents were in jail or something happened to
yeah.
the parents
So
or
I asked her about that and she would just hear about these dire situations. And one of the situations was this baby she wanted to get because it was, the baby had a beggar mother and she
mm,
would go like every week to try and get this baby herself. She would go. And so finally, after 2 years of going,
wow.
all of the beggars were around the mother and were all going, give her the baby. That's her only chance.
Mm,
And so she did. She gave
mm,
her the baby. And so she told me that story when I met her. And so that kid grew up to have a great education. And, she didn't tell me which one. She told me she wasn't going to tell me that. But she would find people by recommendation, kids that were, parents in jail or parents were using them for begging. See, she was using the baby for begging
mm.
and she didn't want to give up the baby for that.
Yeah, of course not.
And so, anyway, so this woman is like crackerjack, amazing. She was in her 90s, but she said she got too busy to be a lawyer and she funded all of that biggest nonprofit in Nepal by writing letters. So she's a crackerjack letter writer and just an
Nice.
amazing. She's one of the most amazing women I've ever met.
Nice.
No,
Nice. So you connected with her and she helped you set up the volunteer program?
she just said, come and teach my faculty photography because we need
Ah,
better pictures of the kids. I'm like, great.
nice.
So I was teaching her main people and I did it for a week. And I stayed in a guest house, that I paid for, and they paid for my taxi fare. And I had a blast
Nice.
doing this. I could have done it longer, but my son and I were going to India, so we had to
Yeah.
leave because he was volunteering and this was the first time he could do any private traveling. But I had so much fun. And so from that experience, I learned that you can actually pitch whatever your expertise is to these nonprofits and go there
Mm.
and do your program for a week, 2 weeks, whatever you want to do. And I've done that in other countries, but I didn't know that was available to me until I tried it.
So, but you have that particular set of skills, right? You have the skill of photography. So it would be whatever you have as a skill, you
Whatever you have
apply,
is a
right?
skill. But see, here's what I found traveling all over Asia for 18 months and 6 months in South America is that a lot of people don't have computer skills.
Mm.
And they need to know really basic things in photography. I mean, you don't have to be a professional like me because some of the websites, the photos are not very good. Let's just,
Let's
say
be
that
honest.
kindly. But I mean, they're using like fuzzy, and yeah, you could do it without being a professional
Yeah.
for sure. And of course, I took a lot of pictures and gave them to her. Um, but there's so many things you could offer to do. You could teach people how to write. I mean, I did do a little bit of
Teach
teaching
English.
English,
It's
but
like,
it wasn't really teaching English. It was like a conversational comedy
yeah.
stand-up thing. Honestly, it
But
was
that's the thing.
more,
It's kind of like it kind of reminds me of, do you remember What Color Is Your Parachute? You
yeah,
read that book?
yeah,
And one of the things because the author actually came in and spoke to our class at one point, and he said, like write down every skill that you have because
yeah.
you have so many skills, and I think people have never actually thought about that. They just think about this narrow set of skills that they have that they use at on their job,
Yeah.
and not every single other thing that they know how to do. And if you think about, if you wrote down the entire set of skills that you have, probably thousands of skills. Everything from reading a book to writing down to working a deep fryer or whatever. There's so
Yeah.
many skills,
Yeah.
and any one of those could come in handy to volunteer at any of these places because they mean. And the other thing is that there's stuff that we do that's so ingrained in us, we think nothing of it. We think it has no value. But there's other people out there who look at it and go, "Oh my God, that is so valuable." We
Yeah.
just can't see it because it's just sort of part of us.
Well, that's like speaking English. I mean, I've walked into several schools in different countries where they said, "Oh, you can teach the class now," and I'd be like, "I just didn't even know you'd want me to do that." So now I go into
Come teach the class.
schools.
Here's the curriculum.
I
Go
mean,
ahead.
and they go. I think the most pushback I got was in Ecuador. And I said, "Oh, I just want to do a conversation thing in Quito." And they're like, "Oh, well, you got to talk to the principal about that." So I'm
Mm,
like, "Oh, I got to leave tomorrow." So, I mean, you can do stuff off the cuff too.
yeah.
You don't have to have this formal arrangement set up. In fact, everything that I set up was not a formal arrangement of,
Yeah.
"Oh, I'm going to be there this amount of
Yeah.
time." And then I did it in Argentina in this home for neglected and abandoned people. That was
Mm,
incredible, and
wow.
stayed there with them.
Wow. So that's
So,
the other thing. You get room and board and money and stuff like that from doing that.
well, no, everything is really different. Like, I wouldn't expect to get your flight or get paid to do it, but in many circumstances, you can just say what you would like. So
Mm,
after that first one, I was like, I can provide my services if you can provide either a room or anything else, but at all the ones I did after that, I was getting room and board.
right. You asked for them. Like you
Yeah,
can't
I
just
told them
yeah.
yeah, I mean, you wouldn't have to get it, but they did have this extra room at that home for neglected people. And so I stayed there for like 9 days and took pictures and wrote an article
Yeah.
about it.
And there's no harm in asking, right? I mean, there's no harm in asking because they could just as easily say no, right? It's not a problem.
Oh, yeah. I mean, they probably get pitched by other organizations, but when you're offering to give something of value, you have
Yeah.
to value what you're giving and then say, well, this is what I can do to help. And
Yeah.
then, they're going to want to make it easy for you if they want that skill.
Yeah. And
So,
like we said before, you have so many skills that you can
yeah.
share and so many skills that we don't value because we think that they're just something that we just do, and there's so much value to them for other people that they don't
Well,
understand.
yeah, and see, and this is another thing. I used to volunteer for my son's organization in Kathmandu, Nepal. And
Hmm.
so one of the things he wanted me to do, he started this California cafe
Oh,
in
nice.
Kathmandu. And so he had all so this organization was for to help women business wise, scholarship wise, and housing wise. And
Nice.
so yeah, and he helped a lot of people. And so he wanted me to come and show them how to make a smoothie and do, kind of more tourist things that would draw tourists.
Right.
And so you don't think that's a skill that you know how to make a really good smoothie, but after having the smoothies there's not enough yogurt. And
Yeah.
there's plenty of yogurt there. In fact, they're known for yogurt,
Yeah.
making yogurt there. And so it's like it's just a recipe. Like that's a skill.
Yeah.
And it's funny that, you could go and have a really fantastic time helping with whatever it is that you have. But these paid volunteer programs have kind of taken the fun out of it because it's like you have to pay so much and then there's some regimen you have to follow. Like I had total freedom to do whatever I wanted.
Yeah. Well, are those paid programs are just more for profit, aren't they? I mean, or to just to raise money.
Well, how much of that money that you're paying really goes to the organization? See, after I've worked with organizations, I found out that there's a lot of them that are scammy, and there's many that are scammy in Nepal because
Oh
they
yeah.
kind of prey on people's, um, you know, as Olga Murray said, she said, United States people are very generous
Mm.
with money. And so, we'll give money without going and volunteering, but where's that money going to? So there's a lot of stuff about
Yeah.
that right
Well, I think that's
there.
suspect. I think that's suspect in charities and organizations all over the world, really. I
Well,
mean,
I
it's
didn't know it
yeah,
until I started doing it. I had no
yeah,
idea. And then I started hearing about all these stories being over there, and I was just shocked that it was
yeah,
happening because the money wasn't going to the
yeah.
organization.
Well, I think that happens a lot. I think that happens a lot. I think doing the volunteering itself, that's the real value.
Well,
And
see,
that's
that's the thing. It is the real value.
yeah, exactly. So how did you set it up? I mean, you didn't set up your own. It sounded like you connected with these with them and you just ran along them. How do you set up your own?
Meaning, how do you
Like
mean
your own
that?
volunteer organization. How do you set up a volunteer organization?
Oh, that's the whole thing. You'd have to talk to my son about that.
Oh,
But
okay.
what you have to do, there's a book, Nonprofit for Dummies. You could read that. That was in his stuff. But it's mainly, and I can use him as an example. You can set it up, and then it's mainly like he would get the funding from Silicon Valley people, companies like Chase, and there's been so many. What's that one, Motorola? Maybe that's not. Anyway, there's a lot of big names in there. Spect. But he did the funding and he directed the programs.
Hmm.
And then over in Nepal, you can get people. He had women in key roles that volunteered, and then they get housing for that. And
And then
then I
so
think
that's the
some got
funding
a
was used
stipend.
for the funding was used for that housing and
Oh
training programs
yeah,
and things
yeah.
like that.
He was totally transparent, so it
Mm.
was not like always getting some big, that wasn't. It was all going. He had three properties.
Wow.
One was an urban farm, another was this 20-acre parcel that was going to get developed, and then there was another, a big house he was renting that
Fantastic.
people would come to and do like projects from the jungle and stuff. Like he was getting big, and that's part of the thing is when there's a lot of scammy organizations, they start to notice if somebody's starting to rise up and doing like something good,
Then they
then
they come in and co-opt it, right?
yeah, they make it harder, or they start. So that's a whole nother story. They start saying things that aren't true about it because they don't like that they're getting land and money and stuff.
Of
But
course.
the thing is, you'll find out. So you just have to be open. You'll find out. Like the one I did in Argentina in the home for abandoned people. That was heard about that from I was in a hostel, and a
Mm.
woman that I was getting to be friends with was talking about she was going to go there next to do this volunteer project, and I was like ripe for a volunteer project. I really wanted to do something after, like, 4.5 months of having fun traveling. And so I went with her, and I talked to the priest that ran the house.
Nice.
She had two homes. Um, and so he said I could come. He had this wonderful Irish accent. And so you can find stuff on the road, or if you wanted to, my son is still doing that. He's doing with his property, he's going to be helping people, low income people, to come and stay and have a place for their, to start having a home.
Nice. Well, I'll
Yeah.
put that link in the show notes too if you have a link to
Yeah.
send me.
Yeah, there is. I
That sounds
will.
good.
I will.
So what
So
else what else did you want to cover today? Like I said, we're really all over the place, but
we're all over the place, but you know what? I was thinking today about talking to you about being open to having transformative experiences. I know we talked about that last time, but there's so much to that
mm,
when you're all mired down in your regular life and you're kind of in this routine, you don't think that's possible. But when you travel and you come on these extraordinary situations, like this Shasta Abbey, the Zen Buddhist place that I was in, I heard about it years before I actually went over there. And so you can hear about a place, but when you do this real time checking something out, you're making a much bigger step.
Hmm.
But you have to make that step to
Yeah.
find out. Like, that Argentina place, it turned out to be way better than I thought it was going to be. I didn't know.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you just don't know. You have to really try something. Maybe everything won't work, but actually, all the volunteer projects I've done have worked, and I've had a fantastic time. And that's why I wanted to talk about that because if you're open to that kind of thing, rather than how it's pitched to us, which is pay all this money. Like I was looking into this elephant orphanage in Sri Lanka, and
Hmm.
phone call with the British to go, do you mind, living with teenagers? And I'm like, well, what do you mean? Well, there's going to be like four people in a room. You're going to be shoveling elephant shit. Oh, I don't think so. And I owe you $2,000. No. Not going to do it.
But you see, all of that stuff you found out about by talking to people wherever you happen to be, right? You start once you place yourself in these new situations,
Right.
then and are open to conversations. You don't just sort of sit in your room the whole time. Like you go to the common area or you go to a cafe or something. You open yourself up to conversations. That's when you hear about these opportunities, right?
Well, and so that one that I didn't do was the only one that I didn't hear about an opportunity. That was online. So
Right.
see, these online things cannot be, you don't know what you're really getting into until you're there. That's why it's so great to do the in
Yeah.
person,
Yeah.
you
It's
know.
almost like we were talking about the last couple of weeks or so about how the online world is so different from the real world. Is that when you're
Exactly.
actually in the real world, you're seeing a whole another side to everything. And the online world is just a tiny little subset of everything that's out there. So getting out there is the important thing. Being
Yeah.
amongst other people and connecting. And even if you're just doing it at a local coffee shop, that's
Yeah.
more than just sort of sitting at your desk and watching YouTube videos.
Well, and I love watching YouTube videos. So, I mean, myself included, but when you get out and start talking to people, I realized seeing my friend Linda, who we'd stayed in touch all these years, but we hadn't really spent time together. It was like there is no way, shape, or form this could have happened online.
Yeah.
And we're meeting at a coffee shop, and we're making the time to be in real life. I mean, we've gotten away from it. And so the traveling makes you be in it more because you have to. Like
Yeah.
somebody asked me, do you like to travel by yourself or do you travel with a partner? It's like, well, pros and cons are when I did travel with a partner, I didn't meet as many people and I
Hmm.
did make myself open enough to, since I'm scheduling everything, I can decide whether I might do this volunteer project
Right.
next week.
Yeah.
And I don't have to check with anybody, so that's a pro. It is nice to travel with somebody you love. That's wonderful as well. But there are pros and cons to both.
Oh yeah, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, they're different. They're completely different kinds of experiences. Completely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think people kind of rule out solo travel because they're afraid to go to a restaurant by themselves. Like I do that all the time and it's so
But they're even afraid to go to
fascinating.
a restaurant by themselves here,
Here.
right? They'd much rather go to like like a friend's house or whatever, like instead of going out and just sitting at a restaurant on their own and possibly having some new experiences. It's nuts.
People talk to you when you're by yourself. People from other tables,
Especially
people.
here. I mean, that's
Yeah.
the one thing about Americans I find when I came from Canada, that everyone is so gregarious. People will talk to you. It's like this is the thing that I learned when I was networking. There was a period of time when I was a techie
Yeah.
and I was forced to get into sales because my company said either get into sales or you're going back to Canada. And I said, okay, fine, I'll try it. So I went to a networking event and I was totally closed up. I was just standing there with my drink in my hand. My knuckles were like
That's
white.
funny.
I was standing in the corner, and I didn't have to do anything. People came up to me and talked
Yeah.
to me. And
Yeah.
I thought, this would never happen in Canada.
Oh, that's so funny.
So everybody was just like, and that broke the ice because, even if you're not the one who's going to make the initial conversation, if you actually physically put yourself in that spot, someone is likely to come and talk to you, as long as you don't look like you're going to, bite their head off when
Yeah.
when
Yeah,
you're standing there.
you have to be open enough to be okay. I'm okay with somebody talking to me, but isn't that amazing that 100% of it probably is showing up?
Yeah, it's 100% of it. You show up and you're there, and someone will talk to you. It
Yeah.
always happens. It always happens. I've never been to an event anywhere where no one will talk to you. Like, just
It,
stand there and no one talks to you.
you know,
Especially,
this isn't it amazing that okay, and I got to share this because I went to this bar in Paris recently, and it's a local bar.
hmm
So I go in there and it's full of people
yeah.
and they're all speaking French and my French is not good. And I'm like, "Oh my God, I started to
Bonjour.
actually feel uncomfortable."
Yeah, I bet.
And guess what? I got my drink. So this was a bar that was they have oysters and they have like €6, €4 to €6 glasses of wine and all these
Nice.
wines. And so it's like a real local place. And I'm surrounded by people, no place to sit down. There's no bar. It's just a bar. You kind of have to fight to get the drink. Anyway,
Right.
they took care of me. But as I was almost finishing my drink, going, "Oh my God, this is, I don't know if I
I'm
can."
ready to go. I'm gonna leave.
Somebody starts talking to me in English,
Yes, it
who's
happens.
French.
hmm
And so I just want to say that it's like, yes, it was uncomfortable, but I'm glad I went. I think of it often because I thought, what a nice guy to talk to me. I don't think he was even hitting on me. He was just curious as to why the hell I was there because I was obviously not a local. And I thought, well, that's interesting.
Yeah. Well, I think that's what it is. It's like you said, 100% of it is just get out there. Get out there, be among people, and even if you don't talk to someone, someone will talk to you, and the
It,
conversation will begin.
it's so true, but I think a lot of people don't realize that and don't want to go through the 10 seconds of awkwardness that it might
Well, it
be or
might be
5
longer than
minutes.
that, but still,
It could be 10 minutes. So, okay, it was probably like 10 minutes
but
in
like
that
stick it out.
situation.
Like literally, all you really need to do is get there and go inside. Go inside, because some
Go
people aren't even.
inside.
They're not even going to get first. They're not going to get in their cars. They're not going to drive there. They're not going to. They're going to stand outside and they're going to think to themselves, "Should I go in?" Right? Just make a
Okay.
make a pact with yourself that you're going to actually go into the venue and stay at least 10, 15 minutes.
Yeah.
Right?
Okay,
And
that's
then
good. I like
during that
this.
period of time, something will happen. But get there.
Okay,
Right?
but you know what makes it easier about when you're traveling that 100% of the time I'm not driving.
Yeah.
So I walk to that bar 3 blocks from my hotel. So
Yeah.
one thing I want to remind people about is that, especially if you're not driving, I know you like to drive, but if you're not driving, and I highly recommend you not drive in Paris, you can explore your neighborhood and you could be outside a place going, I wonder if I should go in there, and then give yourself the challenge of saying, okay, I think I will go in there. There's plenty of people that eat by themselves in Paris.
Oh yeah. I believe it. I
And
believe it.
so, just because it's not Paris and you're somewhere where you don't see somebody sitting there by themselves, still try it.
Exactly. Exactly. Don't
I
let it
mean,
stop you.
it was uncomfortable hearing only French and just going, "Oh my God, I don't think anybody," but the bartender knew he knew some words. So I was like,
Yeah.
"Oh, praise God. Thank you that I'm not
You
murdering
knew
the
what you were
language."
ordering.
Yeah, thank you so much. At least I have a wine to hold in my hand. And, it was still interesting looking around. Like, these are people that live in Paris. Like, I,
Yeah.
I
Yeah. You got a
enjoyed
little slice
watching
of life
them.
there. I love it.
Yeah,
All
yeah,
right. Well, we got to wrap up because it's been an hour. So this has been great. So much
yeah.
fun.
This has been really
And you know
fun.
what? Speaking
What?
of in real life, we should do one of these in person because while you're local and while we're both
Yeah,
local. So we should
okay.
figure out how to do that.
Let's do that. That would be fun.
All right. Talk to you later. Have a good one.
Okay, bye
Enjoy the rest
bye.
of your time in at the retreat or wherever you are.
And Mount Shasta,
Yes.
California. Thank you.
Woo! Talk to you later.
Okay, bye-bye.
Oh, I'm living that nomad life, city to city, feeling alive. From mountain tops to ocean drives, unchained. I thrive, I thrive. Oh, I thrive, I thrive.